as the opening card softly fades to darkness. Let your mind settle into the gentle, unwinding rhythm of a quiet evening long ago. Beyond the magnificent tapestries and bustling outer courtyards of the Tudor realm, night brings a deep and soothing stillness to the royal residences. Here, far removed from the watchful eyes of statecraft, courtly ambition, and rigid ceremonial formality, a private world of intimate comforts quietly awaits us under the evening sky. We step softly into the peaceful sanctuary of Hampton Court Palace, where the night air grows still and candle flames flicker gently against carved oak paneling, casting warm and steady shadows across the soft, rush-covered floors. In the hushed midnight hours, when the vast stone halls repose in tranquil solitude, master confectioners prepared tiny wonders reserved only for the most secluded gatherings. At Hampton Court Palace in 1540, master confectioners pressed a paste of fine white sugar, gum tragacanth, and damask rosewater into molds to make delicate sugar plate cups that dissolved softly on the tongue during private midnight banquets. These fragile confections, crafted with painstaking care and perfumed with floral essence, offered a momentary sweetness that melted away like a fleeting dream, leaving only the quiet fragrance of roses lingering in the cool night air. Decades later, in another tranquil corner of the realm, this tradition of secret luxury continued to flourish within secluded architectural retreats designed specifically for quiet evening solace. At Nonsuch Palace, nestled amid serene gardens and mist-laden parklands, high nobility sought refuge from the unrelenting pressures and ceaseless noise of courtly life. Here, architectural artistry served not for grand ostentation, but to enhance the warmth and intimacy of small, private gatherings. At Nonsuch Palace in the 1580s, the Earl of Arundel hosted small evening gatherings in a secluded octagonal banqueting tower lined with gilded leather, serving warm hippocras wine subtly infused with cinnamon, nutmeg, and grains of paradise. The soft gleam of gold leaf upon the rich leather wall hangings reflected the glowing embers of the hearth, creating a warm, golden haven protected from the damp evening chill outside and the quiet whisper of the wind through the trees. The gentle spice of the heated wine filled the chamber with a soothing, grounding aroma, inviting guests to converse in hushed tones and let the heavy burdens of the day slip peacefully away. These intimate evening rituals of delicate sugar plate and fragrant spiced wine were far more than simple sensory pleasures. They were carefully guarded sanctuaries of calm, crafted for weary minds. In an era defined by intense public performance, the ultimate luxury for Tudor nobility lay in these quiet, unhurried spaces of restorative peace. Within octagonal towers and softly illuminated chambers, time itself seemed to slow to the gentle, steady pulse of a quiet breath. The delicate crunch and velvet dissolution of rose-infused sugar, paired with the comforting warmth of aromatic spices, lulled the senses into a state of serene relaxation. As deep night settles over the sleeping grounds, Shadows lengthen gently across the wooden floors, enveloping the ancient palace in a blanket of peaceful darkness and quiet slumber. Resting here in the calm, you are free to let go of every thought, drifting comfortably into the quiet sanctuary of the past, where peace remains undisturbed. As dusk settled over the expansive timber and stone estates of 16th century England, the vibrant energy of public court life slowly dissolved into the gentle stillness of evening. Beyond the grand reception halls, where politics and ceremony filled the daylight hours, Tudor nobility sought true luxury, not in public display, but in quiet, private sanctuary, behind heavy oak doors lined with thick woolen tapestries. Private chambers offered a soothing haven away from the inquisitive eyes of court advisors and visiting foreign envoys. These intimate retreats, the air grew still and tranquil, carried only by the faint scent of dried lavender, sweet marjoram, and beeswax candles flickering softly in polished brass sconces. Here, warmth was preserved within rich hangings of velvet and finely embroidered linens, creating cocooned spaces designed for deep rest and contemplative ease. The heavy architectural scale of the castle faded into soft shadows, allowing the mind to unburden itself completely from the heavy weight of statecraft. In such peaceful corners, courtly figures cultivated personal moments of calm comfort, surrounding themselves with delicate treasures imported across long distances, or crafted by master artisans who understood the quiet art of restful refinement. The art of private relaxation reached a quiet peak within the great country residences built to accommodate royal progresses, where personal comfort was transformed into an art of restful beauty. During the height of midsummer festivities, when the surrounding countryside hummed with warm breezes and rustling leaves, private quarters served as cool sanctuaries of quiet reflection. At Kenilworth Castle in 1575, Robert Dudley rested in an inner night chamber adorned with rare Venetian glass mirror panes, reclining on a daybed draped in soft green silk taffeta, while sipping a cool cordial of elderberry and honey from a cut crystal goblet. The Venetian mirrors, prized throughout Europe for their unprecedented clarity and silvered backing, captured the low glow of evening candles, casting soft pools of luminescence across the rich green fabric. The cool silk yielded gently under body and hand, offering a soothing physical contrast to the warm summer twilight outside. Each slow sip of the herbal cordial brought the comforting sweetness of wild elderflower clusters and forest honey, soothing the palate and easing the senses after long hours of courtly obligation. Surrounded by such understated elegance, the subtle play of light and shade across polished glass created a calming visual harmony, encouraging a deep and rhythmic breath as the night unfolded. This quiet indulgence in personal comfort revealed a deeper side of Tudor life rarely captured in formal portraits or historical chronicles. Beyond beyond the stiffly starched ruffs, heavy gold collars, and demanding rituals of state, the highest figures of the realm cherished these peaceful hours where luxury served not to display power to others, but to gently restore the body and quiet the spirit. The soft rustle of silk taffeta, the soothing fragrance of botanical cordials, and the delicate reflections shimmering within clear glass mirror panes, all merged into an environment of profound tranquility. As candle wicks burned low and the stone castle settled into midnight silence, the boundaries of the daytime world softly faded away, leaving only the reassuring warmth of a protected sanctuary. In these secluded night chambers, wrapped in calm solitude, the mind let go of all remaining burdens, floating peacefully into a deep and restorative sleep. As daylight softly receded behind the leaded glass windows of Tudor estates, a profound and restorative quiet descended upon the grand corridors and tapestry-lined chambers. Beyond the bustling great halls, where public life unfolded in vibrant, demanding display, the nobility sought refuge within small, secluded sanctums designed purely for rest, privacy, and quiet contemplation. In these private retreats, away from the weight of political ambition and constant scrutiny, the gentle routines of the evening began to unfold with deliberate slowness. Heavy wool draperies were drawn across deep window embrasures to seal out the damp night air, while beeswax candles cast a warm, golden glow across polished oak paneling. The ambient temperature settled into a pleasant, cozy stillness, carrying only the faintest whispers of rustling silk and the comforting scent of wood smoke and dried chamomile from the hearth, softly signaling to mind and body that the labors of the day had finally come to an end, allowing the weary mind to transition gently toward peaceful rest. In such peaceful sanctuaries, music served as a delicate bridge between waking thoughts and restful sleep, carefully crafted to soothe the spirit rather than excite the mind. At Richmond Palace in 1533, Henry VII unwound in his private cabinet, listening to quiet lute melodies, played on instruments whose gut strings were conditioned with sweet almond oil to soften their tone. The application of rich almond oil softened the rigid sheepgut fibers, dampening harsh high-frequency overtones and producing a rounded, mellow resonance that hovered weightlessly in the quiet, candlelit room. As the lutenist's fingers moved across the wooden frets with gentle, rhythmic precision, the hushed notes drifted through the firelit air, encouraging deep, unhurried breathing and easing the physical tension that accumulated through long hours of statecraft and courtly protocol. This soft acoustic bath allowed the mind to untangle itself from daytime cares, floating along gentle melodic phrasing into a state of serene relaxation, where every fading note invited a deeper sense of stillness. This dedication to sensory comfort extended far beyond the royal court into the domestic sanctuaries of noble manor houses across the realm. Inside the quiet still rooms of 16th century estates like Longleat, noblewomen used copper alembics to distill morning-harvested lavender and elderflowers into fragrant waters, storing them in teardrop Venetian glass vials to soothe evening bed linens. Gathered at dawn, when essential botanical oils were most concentrated within the delicate blossoms, the fresh harvests were slowly heated, allowing steam to carry aromatic compounds into smooth copper cooling coils, where they condensed into pure, soothing hydrolats. As twilight fell over the estate, household attendants would carefully unstopper these delicate Venetian phials to mist the fine flaxen sheets and goose-down bolsters. The lingering molecules of lavender and elderflower released a subtle, herbaceous aroma that gently calmed restless senses, enveloping the weary sleeper in a soothing shroud of natural botanical tranquility as they sank peacefully into the deep, welcoming darkness of the night. In these quiet spaces, bathed in soft melodies and subtle floral scents, the heavy cares of Tudor life quietly dissolved into the lingering stillness of the dark. Every gentle element of the evening worked in harmony to restore balance, inviting a deep, dreamless sleep that cradled both body and mind until the morning light. As dusk settles softly over the countryside of Kent, the grand stone walls of Penshurst Place begin to cool, trading the vibrant activity of the day for the quiet sanctuary of eventide. Within the intimate warmth of the private solar, a peaceful room set high above the great hall, fading daylight filters through mullioned windows, casting long, calm shadows across the timber floorboards. Here, away from the formal demands of estate management and public ceremony, the atmosphere shifts into one of quiet reflection. At Penshurst Place in the 1570s, servants strewed the floor of the private solar with dried sweet flag rushes, which released a comforting, citrusy aroma whenever nobility stepped across the room in soft velvet slippers. With every unhurried step, the gentle crushing of the dried stems releases a delicate fragrance into the cool air, blending earthy green notes with the subtle perfume of sun-ripened citrus. Soft velvet footwear glides silently across the natural carpet, insulating feet against cold floorboards while turning ordinary movement into a grounding, rhythmic ritual. The soothing aroma drifts through the solar, softening the stress of the day and creating a sheltered, peaceful environment for quiet evening hours. Further west, along the winding Thames, a similar calm settles over Whitehall Palace in 1575, as the royal household gently retires from the ceremonial duties of court. In the privacy of personal chambers, illuminated by the soft glow of beeswax candles, attendants prepare for the soothing ritual of evening ablutions. Far from the modern myth that Renaissance royals avoided bathing, Tudor nobility cherished elaborate baths designed to nourish skin and restore tired spirits after long hours of statecraft. At Whitehall Palace in 1575, Attendants prepared wooden bathing tubs lined with smooth white linen sheets to protect delicate skin, steeping the warm bath water with fragrant chamomile blossoms, bay leaves, and sweet gale. The soft white linen layer ensured that delicate skin never touched the raw timber of the tub, turning the heavy wooden basin into a comfortable sanctuary of pure rest. As drawn warm water fills the vessel, it gently coaxes volatile oils from the steeped botanicals, creating a rising cloud of aromatic steam that curls lazily toward the high oak-beamed ceiling. Each herb added to the tub offered its own restorative qualities. Delicate chamomile blossoms imparted a soothing, honey-like sweetness. Bay leaves contributed a grounding woodsy warmth, and wild sweet gale provided a crisp, balsam-like freshness that cleared the breath. Sinking slowly into the linen-cushioned bath, bathed in these gentle botanical vapors, a noble could unwind completely, feeling the accumulated tension in worn muscles melt away into the quiet warmth. The soft rustle of linen, the gentle lapping of water, and the faint crackle of a bedside fire created an atmosphere where thoughts could quiet and breath could steady. These secret luxuries, sweet-scented rushes underfoot, and aromatic herbal baths, were thoughtful remedies crafted to bring quiet harmony to body and mind. Outside, the night wind whispers softly through palace courtyards and country gardens, while inside, the peaceful perfume of sweet flag, bay, and chamomile lingers in the still air, welcoming a night of deep, uninterrupted rest. As twilight fell softly across the vast estates of the Tudor realm, the relentless bustle of statecraft slowly dissolved into the gentle, unwinding quietude of evening. Within the thick stone walls of great country houses, far removed from the public scrutiny and intense negotiations of the royal court, high officials retired to their innermost sanctuaries. Here, the demanding posture of authority gave way to unhurried ease and quiet reflection. Heavy wool tapestries hung motionless against the timbered walls, muffling the faint echoes of the day, while soft candlelight began to flicker rhythmically against polished oak paneling. The evening air carried a cool, soothing stillness, inviting the body to release the physical and mental tensions accumulated through long hours of governance and diplomacy. In these secluded quarters, every detail of the surroundings was deliberately crafted for deep, restorative rest, offering a quiet refuge where the mind could wander peacefully and find true repose. At Burghley House, where grand Elizabethan architecture met the peaceful Lincolnshire countryside, the evening routine was designed to cultivate complete and unbroken serenity. Lord High Treasurer William Cecil, having spent long decades navigating the precarious currents of royal favor, international intrigue, and complex national administration, understood the quiet necessity of a restorative evening retreat. Within his private chamber, the harsh realities of courtly statecraft were systematically kept at bay, replaced by tactile comforts gathered from distant trading routes across the continent. Soft woven carpets cushioned the footsteps of attentive servants, while heavy velvet drapes were drawn tight against the damp night air, creating an intimate haven of warmth, safety, and enduring seclusion away from the realm's unending demands. In this serene space, the art of private luxury reached its most exquisite and soothing expression. At Burghley House in 1588, William Cecil relaxed in his private chamber on cushions filled with soft eiderdown and wrapped in Genoese velvet, while attendants slowly burned incense pastilles of benzoin, storax, and powdered red rose petals in a perforated brass brazier. The measured warmth of the brass vessel allowed the precious botanical resins to melt gradually without burning, releasing a deep, grounding perfume that rose lazily into the quiet air of the room. Benzoin contributed a rich, vanilla-like sweetness that blended seamlessly with the resinous balsam notes of storax and the soft, comforting floral whisper of dried summer roses, enveloping the resting nobleman in a gentle veil of calming fragrance that eased every lingering anxiety. Outside the tall, leaded glass window panes, the expansive gardens, quiet stone courtyards, and ancient parklands sank imperceptibly into soft, velvety shades of indigo, charcoal, and deep slate. The gentle rustle of an evening breeze passing through the distant oak treetops created a quiet, natural cadence, perfectly echoing the slow and steady rhythm of peaceful breathing within the warm chamber. In this sheltered sanctuary, true luxury was not an outward display for courtly ambition, but a soft, internal restoration for a weary spirit. As the subtle embers inside the perforated brazier gradually faded to fine ash, the warm, fragrant atmosphere continued to cradle the room in a gentle embrace, guiding the sleeper toward a deep and undisturbed rest. With every calm breath, the heavy concerns of court life faded away into the darkness, leaving only a timeless stillness to rest upon the grand house until dawn. As night settles deeply over the grand stone estates of Tudor England, the bustle of courtly life softens into a serene and velvet quiet. Deep within private chambers, away from the watchful eyes of ambassadors and courtiers, the noble day gently concludes in stillness. Here, amidst the subtle glow of beeswax candles, small personal rituals offer a comforting sanctuary. Queen Elizabeth, I possessed an ornate silver-gilt pomander divided into 6 apple segment compartments, each filled with a warm balm of ambergris, powdered iris root, and cloves to gently perfume her private chamber during nighttime reading. The delicate warmth of the scent would drift quietly across the heavy tapestry drapes, creating a quiet atmosphere where thoughts could drift freely over the turning pages of ancient volumes. The metal of the pomander, cool to the touch at first, would warm gradually in the hand or resting nearby, releasing its delicate perfume in subtle, comforting waves. This evening, calm extended beyond the royal apartments into the quietest retreats of the great country estates, where private correspondence took place under the cover of dusk and midnight silence. In the secluded library of Hatfield House, Tudor aristocrats penned midnight letters using iron gall ink lightly perfumed with oil of cloves, dusting the wet parchment with finely ground alabaster powder to dry the script softly. The soft scrape of the quill upon smooth sheepskin parchment echoed with a soothing, hypnotic rhythm in the shadowed library, accompanied only by the faint crackle of dying oak embers in the stone hearth. Each stroke of the nib left behind not only thoughtful words of friendship and estate governance, but a faint, reassuring fragrance of spice that lingered in the warm air as the dark ink settled into the parchment's fibers. These intimate midnight habits reflected a deep appreciation for tranquility, order, and personal comfort amidst the demanding and often perilous public rhythms of 16th-century nobility. The gentle dusting of alabaster powder upon the fresh, dark ink absorbed the excess moisture without harshness, leaving the surface extraordinarily smooth to the touch and perfectly protected from smudging. Outside the tall mullioned windows, the night breeze moved softly through ancient parkland oaks and quiet stone courtyards, carrying away the lingering heat of the daytime sun. Within the stillness of the library, the simple act of folding a letter, pressing a wax seal, or setting down a brass candlestick became a quiet, meditative pause that marked the peaceful conclusion of all obligations. As the final embers in the hearth soften into a gentle glow of white ash, the dark, protective quiet wraps around the timeless halls. The warm vapors of ambergris, sweet iris, and aromatic clove drift lightly through the room, settling gracefully into the carved oak paneling and heavy velvet drapes. Every meticulous detail of these nocturnal rituals, from the 6 delicate apple-shaped segments of the silver-gilt pomander to the soft sheen of alabaster dust upon the parchment, served as a tender, restorative invitation to unwind, let go of the day's cares, and enter the deep, restful embrace of nighttime slumber. As dusk settles over the expansive estates of late 16th century England, the vibrant energy of daytime, courtly duties fades into a quiet, comforting stillness. High stone walls, which stood resilient against the damp twilight winds, begin to cradle the soft warmth of embers glowing within great stone hearths. In these twilight hours, distant echoes of footsteps along grand galleries slowly give way to the steady, peaceful rhythms of evening rest. Soft candlelight flickers against heavy tapestries, painting gentle shadows that dance across polished oak floorboards and dark wood paneling. The noble inhabitants of these vast country houses retreated into their private bedchambers, leaving behind the political anxieties, noisy corridors, and public formalities of the Tudor realm. Within these quiet sanctuaries, personal comfort was cultivated through thoughtful, silent luxuries designed to bring deep ease to both body and mind after long, demanding days of governance and household management. In the vast, timbered corridors of Kent, nightfall brought a cool, restorative stillness to the spacious chambers of great manor houses. At Knole House in 1592, Thomas Sackville kept small linen sachets filled with dried woodruff and Florentine iris root inside his wardrobes, imparting a quiet scent of sweet grass to his night attire. This subtle aromatic preparation allowed the soft linens to carry the delicate, comforting essence of sun-warmed summer fields into the chill of the evening air. As the heavy doors of the tall wardrobes were opened, the calm fragrance drifted gently through the bedchamber, creating an atmosphere of clean, natural serenity. The dried roots and meadow herbs provided a quiet sensory comfort, transforming simple nocturnal garments into an inviting solace that lulled the spirit into peaceful relaxation. Such intimate details of domestic care revealed a profound appreciation for gentle, lingering scents that softened the crispness of evening robes and fostered restful sleep. Further north, amidst the rolling hills of Derbyshire, winter evenings presented a different kind of quiet solitude within newly constructed stone halls. As cold winds swept over the countryside and rustled against the glass of wide mullioned windows, firelight cast a comforting crimson glow across private parlors and bedchambers. During quiet winter evenings at Hardwicke Hall in 1590, Bess of Hardwicke relaxed in a linen nightcap, intricately embroidered with black silk acorns and honeysuckle vines to keep her warm in drafty stone chambers. The delicate blackwork stitching, featuring rhythmic patterns of climbing flora and sturdy oak fruits, brought a touch of quiet artistic beauty to an essential item of nocturnal warmth. Nestled beside the hearth, the soft linen offered relief from the ambient chill that inevitably seeped through thick masonry walls during the coldest months of the year. Wrapped in quiet comfort, she could watch the dying embers fade into soft ash, lulled by the peaceful silence of the countryside. These quiet night traditions highlight how Tudor nobility sought sanctuary from the world outside through simple, beautifully crafted personal comforts. From delicately scented linens tucked away in carved oak chests to warm embroidered caps worn beside flickering hearths, these subtle rituals softened the harsh edges of winter nights. As the late hours stretched gently toward midnight, the steady glow of embers dimmed into darkness, and the silent estates rested peacefully under the calm, protective blanket of night. As twilight fell across the sweeping reach of the River Thames, Greenwich Palace settled into a quiet, rhythmic calm. The bustling activities of the Tudor court, the rustle of heavy silk gowns, the muffled echo of leather boots along long stone corridors, and the gentle murmur of evening converse gradually yielded to the deep stillness of late night within the private apartments, away from the grand halls where statecraft and political intrigue held sway. The atmosphere transformed into one of serene, undisturbed retreat. High leaded windows reflected the soft, flickering light of beeswax candles, while thick wool tapestries hanging along the high stone walls helped soften the drafty night air that drifted off the cool river waters. Floor rushes sprinkled with dried sweet woodruff, winter savory, and lavender released a faint, comforting herbal perfume whenever stepped upon, creating a subtle scent that lingered throughout the quieted chambers. For those who navigated the intricate demands of royal court life, these late hours offered a rare opportunity to shed the formal armor of status and unwind in absolute peace, wrapped in the comforting quiet of the gathering dark. In the quiet sanctuary of her bedchamber, Queen Catherine Parr found her own gentle ritual for releasing the heavy burdens of state. The year had brought significant responsibilities to her position, making her late-night seclusion all the more precious and deeply comforting. As her gentlewomen drew the heavy silk bed curtains and dampened the glowing embers in the hearth, a warm beverage was carefully brought forth to ease her mind. At Greenwich Palace in 1544, Queen Catherine Parr unwound before sleep by sipping a warm evening posset of almond milk and sweet sack wine from a two-handled silver vessel, gently seasoned with nutmeg and dried orange peel. The spiced warmth of the posset carried notes of exotic trade and quiet luxury, blending the rich creaminess of pressed almonds with the subtle citrus brightness of dried peel. Holding the heavy silver cup by its twin handles, she enjoyed each slow, deliberate sip, letting the soothing combination ease the lingering tension of royal duties and prepare her spirit for deep, peaceful rest. This quiet indulgence reflected a broader Tudor appreciation for restorative nighttime drinks and herbal drafts, carefully crafted to bring harmony to body and spirit after long days of public ceremony. Rare spices such as nutmeg were valued not only for their delicate flavor, but also for their comforting warmth, believed by contemporary apothecary texts to soothe an overactive mind and settle the stomach before sleep. The addition of sweet sack wine lent a rich, velvety depth to the almond milk, while the dried orange peel released a soft, lingering citrus perfume into the rising steam. As the queen sat quietly in the dimming candlelight, the physical sensation of holding the warm silver vessel provided a grounding focus in the stillness of the chamber. Outside, a gentle nocturnal mist settled over the palace gardens and riverbank, slowly wrapping the quiet grounds in a soft blanket of silence. Inside, the soothing warmth of the posset and the calm atmosphere of the room invited an easy transition into peaceful sleep, cloaking Greenwich Palace in profound, enduring tranquility. As the final traces of twilight slip beyond the heavy mullioned windows of the country's great manor houses, a deep and settling quiet slowly descends across the estate. Within the inner private apartments of Tudor nobility, The busy demands, political chatter, and formal ceremonies of daytime fade softly into the calm of eventide. It was during these tranquil hours of late evening that subtle, private comforts transformed the routine act of retiring into a deeply restful sanctuary for both mind and body. The long corridors grew still, lit only by low embers, while inside the bedchamber, thoughtful details created an atmosphere of quiet sanctuary. At Audley End, in 1595, Lord Howard illuminated his sleeping chamber with pure virgin beeswax candles, subtly perfumed with oil of rosemary, set in polished silver sconces to cast a warm, fragrant glow. The clear, golden light reflected gently off rich oak paneling and woven tapestries, casting soft shadows across the ceiling while filling the space with a subtle herbal essence that cleansed the evening air and lulled the weary mind toward rest. Unlike the grand centerpieces and dramatic displays designed to impress visitors in the public reception halls, these nocturnal luxuries were entirely personal, preserved strictly for the stillness of the bedchamber. In the quiet solitude of the room, as hearth fires burned down to soft embers, and the heavy velvet bed hangings were drawn close to block out drafts, gentle sensory rituals eased the passage into sleep. At Luxuries Park in 1568, Sir William Moore kept small gilded wooden boxes of candied violet petals beside his bed, tasting a few before sleep to soothe his chest and quiet his thoughts after evening prayers. The small, sugar-dusted petals dissolved slowly upon the tongue, releasing their delicate floral essence as he lay resting in the dim room, allowing the lingering sweetness of the sweetmeat to quiet the lingering cares of the daytime. These miniature containers, lovingly carved and touched with gold, were kept close at hand upon the bedside stand, ready to provide a moment of sweet comfort after the last devotions were whispered into the gathering dusk. The thoughtful pairing of clean-burning, aromatic candlelight and gentle botanical confections speaks to a quiet Tudor understanding of rest as a crafted art. The natural scent of rosemary, long associated with memory and mental clarity, blended seamlessly with the soft floral sweetness of preserved violet, creating a serene environment where the senses could unburden themselves from tension. In an era when night was welcomed with quiet reverence, these refined touches offered a physical sense of security and peaceful contemplation. The gentle ambient light in the sconces burned slowly without smoke or harsh flickering, providing just enough soft luminescence for reading a passage of devotion or watching the slow drift of shadows upon the embroidered linens before extinguishing the final flame. As the last golden rays of candlelight receded, leaving only the pleasant fragrance of herbal wax and sweet violets in the quiet air, the bedchamber became completely enveloped in peace. Surrounded by the sturdy warmth of timber walls, soft linen sheets, and the quiet, rhythmic rustling of leaves beyond the stone window frames, the mind was invited to release its final wakeful thoughts. In these hidden sanctuaries of comfort, far removed from the turbulent demands of the court, the night took hold gently, guiding the sleeper into a deep, uninterrupted, and restorative sleep. As twilight gently descends across the rural estates of late Tudor England, the energy of the daytime household gives way to a serene stillness. Deep within stone manors and timbered halls, tall beeswax candles are trimmed down to amber points of flame, casting peaceful shadows along carved wainscoting and woven wall hangings. Outside, the evening breeze moves softly through dark orchards and quiet courtyard gardens, carrying away the last muted echoes of countryside life. Inside the private bedchambers, the air cools, inviting a quiet transition toward rest, where every detail of preparation is designed to foster comfort and tranquility. Heavy velvet drapes are drawn across grand mullioned windows to seal out the damp night air. In these peaceful sanctuaries, far from the formal demands of the royal court, noble families embraced delicate, comforting rituals crafted to soothe the senses after long days spent navigating the social dynamics of the realm. Within the ancient, granite-walled chambers of Cote Hill House, perched above the quiet waters of the River Tamar, the approach of bedtime brought a uniquely fragrant comfort. As the evening chill settled into the thick stone walls, careful preparations transformed the heavy oak bedstead into an inviting haven of warmth and rest. Before retiring at Cote Hill House in 1585, bedchamber maids glided heavy brass warming pans filled with slow-burning juniper and rosemary embers across linen sheets to infuse the bed with gentle herbal warmth. As the perforated brass vessel moved rhythmically back and forth beneath the heavy woven coverlets, tiny wisps of aromatic smoke escaped, mingling with the scent of washed flax and clean wool. The resinous perfume of wild juniper combined with the soothing pine-like essence of garden rosemary, creating a calming atmosphere that eased tiredness from mind and body alike. The residual heat remained trapped deep within the layers of bedding, creating a cocoon of soft warmth that welcomed the sleeper into complete relaxation while the embers slowly cooled in the dark. A similar devotion to quiet luxury and soothing evening care flourished among the cultured nobility residing in the great country houses of Wiltshire. In the quiet hours before sleep, personal care routines reflected both refined botanical knowledge and a desire for peaceful sensory pleasure. At Wilton House in 1584, Mary Sidney slept in soft kidskin gloves treated with almond oil and scented with crushed jasmine blossom to nourish her skin overnight. This tender nighttime practice allowed the nutrient-rich oil to press gently against the hands through hours of uninterrupted rest, protecting the skin from dry night air while locking in subtle moisture. The delicate fragrance of white jasmine flowers, harvested at dusk when their aromatic oils were most potent, released a sweet, calming perfume with every gentle movement under the covers. Such private cosmetics were crafted by hand in home stillrooms, combining botanical distillation with luxurious imported oils, turning nighttime self-care into a soothing, restorative ritual of stillness. As the night deepens, these quiet luxuries of heat, botanical herbs, and rich floral oils gently dissolved the remaining tensions of the day into a profound sense of ease. Surrounded by the soft scents lingering in the warm darkness, the grand chambers fell completely silent beneath the vast midnight sky. The heavy bed curtains enveloped each sleeper in a private sanctuary of calm slumber, where body and spirit found peaceful renewal until the soft light of morning. As the late Elizabethan evening descended over the rolling hills of northern England, the great stone country houses of the nobility quieted into a deep, comforting stillness. Away from the restless ambition and formal ritual of the royal court, domestic life in the late 16th century found its truest sense of luxury in the quiet intimacy of private bedchambers. Heavy oak shutters were closed against the damp twilight air, and thick draperies were drawn across high leaded windows to enclose the residual warmth of the day's fires. Within these ancient stone walls, the sharp chill of the Westmoreland countryside melted away, replaced by the soft perfume of dried lavender, sweet marjoram, and wood smoke lingering gently in the air. Outside, the night air settled over the ancient parklands, but inside, the private chambers were transformed into serene sanctuaries dedicated to rest, surrounded by dark carved paneling and intricate plasterwork. Tudor gentlewomen retired to quiet rituals designed to soothe both mind and body after the long demands of estate management. Every detail of the Tudor bedchamber was arranged to foster tranquility and shelter the sleeper from the persistent cool of the damp northern climate. Bedsteads of polished English oak stood elevated from the floor, enclosed in thick wool hangings that created a cozy room within a room. At Sizergh Castle in 1578, Catherine Strickland slept beneath rich coverlets of crimson damask lined with white miniver fur, keeping a small silver floating night taper burning in a crystal bowl of scented olive oil to cast a steady, quiet glow. This delicate arrangement provided both luxurious warmth and a calming visual focus during the long hours between dusk and dawn. The soft crimson coverlet held heat beneath its white fur lining, while the crystal vessel caught the tiny flame, refracting soft amber light across the tapestry hangings. The subtle scent of herbal oil rising on the gentle heat softened the air within the bed curtains, inviting slow, steady breathing and deep rest. These floating tapers were a subtle mark of refined comfort, offering a low, constant illumination far softer than the bright glare of standard candles. Crafted from pure silver and designed to drift upon a cushion of clear oil, the tiny wick burned with a quiet constancy that required no tending throughout the night. The steady flame cast soft, shadows across the bed's carved posts and decorative canopy, creating a peaceful cadence of light. Outside the heavy timbered windows, the night wind might rustle through ancient oaks, but inside the curtained bed, all remained warm, still, and perfectly protected. The serene glow held the darkness at bay without disturbing the natural approach of slumber. As the middle hours of the night deepened, the castle lay enveloped in unbroken repose. The small flame in its crystal dish maintained its calm, silent guard, floating upon its bed of perfumed oil, until the first pale gray light of dawn should touch the horizon. Wrapped securely within layers of fine damask and soft miniver fur, the sleeper drifted into the restoring depths of sleep, cradled by the timeless comfort of a peaceful home. Every sound faded to nothing, leaving only the steady, rhythmic breathing of the chamber and the gentle, golden warmth of a quiet Tudor night. As twilight recedes into deep night across the ancient estates and manor houses of Tudor England, a profound quiet settles over the great halls. The lively bustle of daily court life, with its intricate diplomacy, hushed whispers, and vibrant pageantry, slowly dissolves into the restful silence of evening. Soft amber light from fading hearth fires dances upon high timbered ceilings, while long shadows stretch across polished floorboards and tapestried walls. Within the private sanctuaries of the nobility, far from the watchful eyes of state affairs, the environment turns entirely inward towards solace, quietude, and deep rest. Here, surrounded by the finest crafts of master artisans and the subtle, lingering fragrances of garden herbs, the day's heavy obligations melt away into the stillness of the dark hours. The cool night air outside is kept gently at bay by thick stone walls and heavy, insulating hangings, creating an atmosphere of deep safety and unhurried ease that invites soft, rhythmic breathing and peaceful reflection. Every ticking whisper of daytime ambition falls quiet, allowing the tranquil darkness to envelope the entire grand estate in gentle, lasting contentment. In these grandly appointed chambers, sleep was approached not merely as a practical necessity, but as a refined art of luxury, comfort, and restoration. Tudor courtiers rested in massive carved oak beds, layered with up to 5 mattresses, stuffed with Dutch swan down, enclosed by heavy velvet draperies that retained the comforting scent of lavender-washed Holland linen. These monumental bedsteads, towering like quiet sanctuaries within the room, provided an unparalleled haven of warmth and softness as one sank into the deep, yielding layers of down. The heavy surrounding curtains were drawn close, sealing away drafts and softening the ambient sounds of the household. The subtle, calming aroma of fresh lavender, woven into the weave of the fine linen sheets, offered a soothing sensory rhythm, encouraging the mind to let go of the day's lingering thoughts and drift effortlessly towards slumber. Each layer of wool, down, and fine cloth worked in in gentle harmony to cradle the sleeper in a cocoon of unyielding security and timeless ease. Beyond the larger courtly manors, in quiet country seats nestled amidst rolling hills and peaceful river valleys, individual traditions of herbal repose brought their own quiet magic to the night. At Haddon Hall in 1567, Dorothy Vernon rested her head on linen bolsters stuffed with dried wild thyme and golden hops harvested in late summer to promote quiet, unbroken sleep. The delicate, earthy scent of dried hops and the herbal sweetness of wild thyme released their calming virtues with every subtle turn, filling the bedchamber with the peaceful memory of sun-warmed summer fields. As the night deepens, all remaining tallow candles and log fires dim to soft, glowing embers, and a gentle, motionless stillness wraps itself around every quiet room. The heavy curtains remain closed against the cool midnight air, preserving the soft warmth and sweet herbs within. Now, with nothing left to accomplish and nowhere else to be, every slow breath grows steady, smooth, and deeply relaxing. The quiet mind settles into absolute calm, carrying you effortlessly into the deepest, most restorative sleep, where peace remains completely unbroken until the morning light softly returns to the sleeping realm.